last weekend, Liverpool got a penalty in the very dying seconds of a game, which confirmed that they were going to win that game. Everybody, I'm sure, including you, have seen that particular incident. I can't imagine there's anybody who thinks that was a penalty. And then, of course, the conspiracy theory starts immediately that there is an agenda against City to win the Premier League or to make the Premier League title race more interesting, that the reason why that goal was, or that penalty was given, was because the Premier League or some of the mysterious people want to make sure that Liverpool can close the gap to City. You read that, you see that, you've seen the incident, Scott. What do you make of that? And you're a Blue as well, so I'm really interested to know what you think of that. Is it does that type of thing happen? What do you think when you see and read it?
Nobody's going to jeopardise their position as an active match official at any level of football. We have heard of rumours and stories, all across the world where referees have received bungs, etc., to swing matches. I have never detected anything or no conspiracy theories whatsoever. On the day, people can say things like what you just stated there, Ian, because they've seen a decision wrongly overturned by the individual referee who was correct from the first decision he made. And we're referring back to the penalty kick award. The referee was 100% correct not to award a penalty, but I can't believe that somebody in Stockley Park, which was the VAR referee, asked the referee to come over and have because he, in his opinion, felt there could be a chance of an overturn here and a penalty kick to be awarded. There's no conspiracy. I just thought that was bad management by the official in Stockley Park on that occasion.
It's worse than that, isn't it, if I've understood it, because the VAR referee isn't just having a slight disagreement with the decision that was made. The VAR referee is only meant to ask them to review it if they can see a clear and obvious error. And that's why the penalty that wasn't overturned when Ederson either did or did not clip the Arsenal forward, it wasn't a clear and obvious. You could go either way on it. So I don't understand what happened there, because they could have had a difference of opinion, but that's not what VAR is meant to do. It's meant to be brought in if there's a clear and obvious error, as I understood it.
Yeah, like the way you described the handball incident before, deliberate handball. If it was punched into the goal and the goal was awarded, then and the referee was unsighted by the use of the hand, then that would have been clear and obvious, and that would have been when you better come over and have a look at the monitor, and you'll make a judgment from one of the 33 cameras that are situated around the ground, and you've got every angle at every speed, low level, high level, wherever the projection of the camera is, and then he'd have said, I made an error of judgment, and the goal kick will not be awarded, and then it would have resulted in a yellow card for the player who committed the offence. It could have even been a second yellow card if it had been cautioned previously. They're the clear and obvious incidents that we should be looking at on that. But for some reason, it's all about opinions. Stockley Park there, the video referee, he's only said it's a possibility that you made an error of judgment there in not awarding a penalty. Come and have a second look at it. As I said, in slow motion, etc., different angles and that. And it still wasn't a penalty after he overturned it himself. And it's only the referee who can make the change. He's only offered advice through VAR.
Having said that, Scott, I'm sure I've read some statistics just recently that when the referee is asked to go to a monitor, 95%, or in fact, maybe in excess of 95% of referees then change their mind based on what they see. Now, does that mean 95% of the referees are getting it wrong, or that they feel an enormous pressure on them, that because Stockley Park have drawn their attention to this incident, that they feel they have to then change it, whatever they look at, almost that they're running over to the monitor thinking, I'm going to have to change my mind, without even seeing it. And then when they see it, whatever's in their mind, they think, Stockley Park have looked at this, there's 2-3 people made a decision, they're telling me to look at it. So it's a fait accompli. Is that not the case?
I know what would be going through my mind if I was asked to go over and look at the pitch side monitor, if I was the appointed referee on the day. I'd be giving myself thinking time, I'll be replaying the incident back in my mind, my thought processes, my positioning, as I'm making my way to the monitor. And then when I look at the incident again, I may say to myself, why have they got me over for that? I don't want to change my original decision that I made, but at 95% of the decisions when they go to the monitor are overturned. And for what reason, I don't know. And I can't give it any other answer than that to Ian.
All right. Well, there's a guy called Graham Walker here who it's sort of on this subject says we see he means fans in the ground, obviously the grounds that have screens, not like Old Trafford and Liverpool that don't even have one, but we in the ground see what VAR shows. What makes the referee make decisions that go against the majority of what we see? So this isn't talking about looking at the replay on the screen, but we've all seen it. We've seen the clear decision. We've sometimes even looked at a replay, and people on TV certainly will have seen a replay. How can so many referees go against the majority of what we see? And maybe that Liverpool penalty is a good example. You say it was wrong. I say it was wrong. I bet if I asked the whole panel and everybody listening to this, and even some Liverpool fans will say that was wrong. So we can all see it, and yet the referee still got it wrong. How can that happen?
Well, unfortunately, it did happen in this particular case, and it would be interesting, like you say, about what we said earlier, being able to come forward when Adam brought the point up about being able to speak to the media. And that would have been an ideal opportunity for the match referee, I think it was Kevin Friend on the day, where he could have spoke out aloud, but his decision was made and everybody's got to accept it, after he, reviewed it on the monitor side. And then when certain grounds do have the cameras there and the screen up there for the supporters to look at, they will still think it's a wrong call. But what was awarded, and there's no doubling back on it after the penalty was given. It is difficult, and the beauty about it is, like, you could be sat 20 rows high up in the stand, a great, overlooking everything. The referee's got an obstructed view, he's got players cutting inside him, and yet makes that decision, may get it right, may get it wrong, and then it'll only be for that, like a clear and obvious error, as we've spoken about before, where then he'll get the nod to come over and have a look at the pitch side monitor if it resulted in a penalty, mistaken identity, the resulting, was it a reckless, or was it a challenge, or was it one that endangered an opponent, where he's given a red card and then he could rescind that there, and then by looking at the monitor and revert it back to a yellow card. So you may say to yourself, for a challenge that goes in, that doesn't warrant a red card, that's yellow card, like what you're asking me there. But then he's got the beauty of going over and rescinding that red card there and then to a yellow card. And we've all seen it, where the cards have been taken out and the red's gone away and the yellow one's come out instead. And that is because if we didn't have the VAR on those particular instances, then that's prevented a player from getting a suspension for the game after, because he's been able to go over and look at that decision again.
Even while you were refereeing, Scott, and you might not have had VAR at your disposal, but of course you had the radio contact with your linesman or your assistant referee. So Phil Eardley says, are referees obliged to listen to their assistants? Do assistant refs get the chance to question a ref's decision during the game?
Well, I'll let you into some of my pre-match instructions that I used to give out to the assistants when we were using the communication kits, in our ears. And I will say, if I was at one end, there was a corner kick, and the keeper gathered quickly in the air, and then he punted a 50, 60-yard long ball up front, there's no way any man on earth can get to that dropping zone to watch the 9-5 in the defending half. I would then say to down my microphone to the assistant who's in that half of the field of play, referee it for me till I get there. And it's all in his hands then, providing the ball's going towards his diagonal. I don't want him to officiate for me if the ball's comes to the other side when I should be taking up that patrol. But we support each other and we offer advice through the microphones. A flag will go up, accommodated by a few words to me. It'll say free kick only. Free kick, in my opinion, it's a caution. Now, he's just giving me information, and I'll say, appreciate your time and your concerns in giving me that caution or a red card offence. But it gives me a thought. I thought that was a caution as well. If I didn't think it was a caution, it was a free kick only. I'd say, not being disrespectful, but I'm only giving a free kick. But at least we were getting feedback and telepathy between us.